Hello, this is John from caveofprogramming.com. My situation is that I don't know anything about coding with AI, except that I have seen that you can ask ChatGPT to generate, for example, a Python script, and it seems like it often works. But I haven't even tried that. So in this video, and possibly in future videos, I want to try to figure out how to code with AI because people keep telling me that my skills will be obsolete in 5 years if I don't figure out how to do it. So I suppose the first place to start is Google. I'm going to try to figure out what I should do to code with AI. And I'm particularly interested in free solutions because I don't really have any money to fling about. So let's search for something. Code with AI free. Okay, there's a bunch of options here. I suppose what I need is some kind of review site that tells me, maybe Geeks for Geeks, 10 free AI coding assistant tools. Or how about Reddit? I don't really understand Reddit. I never use it. So I don't know, this is like a lot of people discussing stuff. I see ChatGPT coming up there, but that's not really geared specifically to coding, as far as I know. I mean, I use it all the time, but I just ask it questions about stuff. Microsoft Copilot, is that free? I don't know. Bit hard to use. Fallen off the deep end recently, someone says. Code Whisperer, I don't know. Maybe the Microsoft one is good. I'm not really keen on using Microsoft stuff, if I'm honest. Although I use Visual Studio Code and that's really nice. Isn't there any just simple, straightforward answer here? Okay, let's try something else. Best free AI coding assistant. Okay, these are sponsored results at the top here. 10 free AI. I'm going to have to look at this Geeks for Geeks page. Okay, so it's got a load of stuff about benefits. Yeah, I do see some. Why does it keep translating my stuff into Italian? It's so annoying. Okay, let's try to get rid of this. Right, so Kite code. Is there like some sort of ranking or something? There's a table here. GitHub Copilot. I mean, I like the sound of GitHub. I already used GitHub, and most of these others I haven't really heard of. I have heard of GitHub Copilot. All right, let's try to go for GitHub Copilot. GitHub Copilot. What's the deal with this? It doesn't seem like this is actually working. Maybe if I refresh the page. Okay, something's loaded now. They've got one of those web pages that's so slick, it initially looks broken. Get started, see plans and pricing. So how much does this thing cost? I thought it was free. Free for developers looking to get started with GitHub Copilot. Well, that's me. Do I need unlimited access? I don't think I do. Well, it doesn't seem like it's truly free, but okay, let's go for this and see how this works. I'm going to click Get Started on the free option. Oops, something went wrong. It's unavailable to me. Why? Let's refresh that. Okay. No, is it working? No, I don't want the monthly plan. I want the free version. Why is it unable to subscribe user to GitHub Copilot free? I don't understand this at all. Let's try refreshing this page again. Get started again. There's no free plan here. I don't want to pay $10 a month. I don't even know what it's like. All right. So what was that Microsoft one called? Microsoft Copilot, your AI companion. I don't really want an AI companion, I'll be honest here. What I would like is just something that, can generate code. Okay, do I have to accept that? I'll accept that. Hey, how can I help you? Well, is this already it? So what, can I just type stuff here and it just does it? Okay, well, what should I type? What about write a C program that generates a simple image. Creating a simple image using C involves generating a bitmap file. Yeah, okay. Here's a basic example of a C program that creates a simple red square bitmap image. Okay, so I guess I'm allowed to use this and stuff. I mean, it's not copyrighted, right? Let's take a look at what it's written here. So I've actually done this recently and this looks almost identical to what I wrote myself. In fact, it's startling how similar it is. It's very similar to the code I wrote for my, I think it was my beginner C++ course, or it might have been my advanced C++ course in 2015. I guess there are just only so many ways to do it. And it's very similar to the code I've been writing recently in C, except I've never used p error. All right, well, does this work? So I just copy it and let's compile that. So I need to open a folder. Here I'm using Visual Studio Code. I'm going to go to some folder somewhere, create a new folder. I'll call this, well, I better call it Copilot. Copilot. In there I'll create a folder called C. Click Create. Then I'm going to open this folder in Visual Studio Code. All right, so let's create a subfolder in there and call it bitmap or something. And then what do I need here? So this is all one massive long C file by the looks of it. So I'm just going to right click and go to new file main.c. So I've got a C compiler installed. Let's get rid of that welcome screen. I'm just going to paste that in. I mean, it looks fine as far as I can see. So I'll go to a console. Let's just maximize that, maybe make it a bit bigger. Am I in the right place? Yeah. So let's go to bitmap. Okay, so I should be able to compile this. What do I need? Actually, I'm going to use PowerShell here. Having said that I don't really like to use Microsoft stuff, I also use PowerShell even though I'm on a Mac. So now, and what I like about PowerShell, one of the things I like, is the autocomplete. So I'm going to compile this with warnings all turned on, and I'm going to call the resulting program prog, and then I'm going to try to run prog if this command succeeds. So I'm on a Mac, so I'm using clang as my C compiler. The gcc command on a Mac is just an interface to that, but clang is highly compatible with GCC, which is the most standard C compiler. If you're on Windows, you'd want to install MinGW. Let's just try this. Image created successfully. Has it created an image? It has. Let's open it and see what it looks like. Okay. Well, there's no complaints there. I mean, it worked. It generated my whole program for me. That's actually kind of impressive, I suppose. Can it do something more complicated? I'll stick with C just for the moment. Create a C program that... No, how should I put this? Write a C program that creates a fractal image. This is the exact task that I'm currently working on. I've almost finished it for a C tutorial that I'm currently recording. So let's just try this. Creating a fractal image, such as the famous Mandelbrot set, requires generating complex mathematical patterns. Okay, let's copy that and then take a look at the code. So what should I call this? Let's create a new folder. So make the Mandelbrot. I'm pretty sure it is pronounced Mandelbrot and not Mandelbrot, but I could be completely wrong. I'm going to go into there and let's create a main.c. So now, here it is. Let's open it in Visual Studio Code. Paste all that stuff in. So, okay, look at that. I mean, it looks like the real deal, doesn't it? It's got all this stuff going on. Yeah, and it's as well optimized as it would be if I wrote it myself without trying really hard to optimize it. So for example, for each pixel, you've got to iterate till you hit some maximum iteration limit. And you need to check if the magnitude of a complex number you're generating is greater than 2. If it is, you finish iterating. So here we've got the squared magnitude and it's checking if that's less than or equal to 4. We must have, we've got the usual code. This is code for writing a bitmap, Microsoft bitmap. And well, everything looks as I expect. And I would actually say there's a lot less code here than I would write myself if I was doing this. Maybe it's just that I would split it into multiple different headers and stuff like that. But let's try this and see if it works. So I'm going to compile this with GCC. All right, it compiles. Let's open the fractal.bmp. Look at that. It's not pretty, but it is definitely the Mandelbrot fractal. Well, I should try some other task. The issue with C is if I do much more than this, I'm going to have to install libraries, which Copilot isn't going to be able to do for me. Let's maybe try something in Python. So I'm going to create a folder for this. Let's say make the Python cd Python. Okay, and now what am I going to do though? So what about, could I create some kind of program that has a user interface? Because I have installed Tkinter for Python, which can generate a user interface in your Python programs. I mean, I could try that. Create a Python program that has a user interface. Maybe I should specify a GUI. That has a GUI that allows me to record how many coffees I have drunk on each day and saves the results. So, I mean, this is something you might use a database for, but if you've just got one copy of the program that you want to run locally on your machine, you could save your results to a text file or maybe a SQLite database or all sorts of things. Absolutely, I can help you with that. Here's a Python program using the Tkinter library. All right, and it is using SQLite. Okay, so yeah, fair enough. Let's copy that. And I need to create a file. Where are we? So let's create a file called, actually I'll make a subdirectory, coffee. And in coffee, does this file have to be called anything in particular? Let's just create a main.py. So if I now open that, can't actually see this in my Explorer here. Yeah, let's go to File, Add Folder to Workspace. I should just add this entire AI directory, actually. Let's do that. Then I can get rid of this C folder because everything's now in here. Okay, there's my main.py. So if I now paste in the stuff that I copied into this file, wow, how much is that? 59 lines. Is that enough to do this? Starting to think I've been writing way too many lines of code. All right, so I'll try to run this. Where am I? All right, so there's my main.py file. Let's just clear this. There it is. And Python main.py. What? Invalid syntax. Okay, that could be because, yeah, I know what this is. This is probably because the version of Python on my computer by default is probably too old to recognize F strings, which I think were added in Python 3.10 or something maybe. They were added relatively recently. But what I can do is set up a virtual environment with the right kind of Python, or probably I can just directly invoke the right kind of Python. Let's try Python 3, which I have on my system. Python 3 main.py, traceback, no module named Tkinter. All right, not to worry. I have previously set up a virtual environment on this machine, which is very easy to do. I'm just going to have to go up a few layers of directory, and now I can activate the virtual environment that I have set up. All right, so now I should have access to everything. So if I go back to that folder, I should be able to run stuff with Tkinter. Let's try Python main.py. Okay, look at that. It's a really little program. How many coffees did you drink today? I've no idea. I've mainly been doing tea today. Let's pretend I've drunk 4 coffees. I click save. Records saved successfully. View records. Wow, look at that. So I guess it's just saving it with today's date. If I enter a different figure now and save that and do view records, it's just updated the record for today. I mean, it does exactly what I asked it to. It's not the prettiest, nicest application in the world, but it does do what I asked it to. Okay. I'd like to try using it for something more ambitious, but how does this work with multi-file projects? Is it always just going to try to put everything in one file? And what if I ask it to do something that would require a data file? Can it do that? I don't know. What about if I ask it to write a Python program that displays a chart and table of world, country, population figures? Absolutely. To display a chart and table, we can use Python's pandas library for data manipulation and matplotlib for creating the chart. That makes sense. First you'll need to install, I've got those installed already though. It fetches population data from an online source, displays it in a table and creates a bar chart. Seriously? Wow. Alright. So I'm going to create another directory. Let's create a directory called population, and in population I'm going to create main.py. So that should be visible here now. And let's now paste that stuff in. It's pretty impressive, isn't it? I mean, I'm impressed. All right, so now Python main.py. Is it going to do anything? Wow, look at that. Top 10 most populated countries. World. I don't know what IDA and IBRD is. Yeah, there's some slight issues here with the text is going off the edge. That is a thing that's actually easily fixed. It's easily encountered if you use matplotlib. I can't remember what the fix is, but it's really easy. And you can just make it big enough that you can see all of it. Middle income. It's not done exactly what I intended. What I intended was for this to be a list of countries. It says top 10 most populated countries, but none of these are countries on the left. So that's just a misunderstanding though, which I could probably fix by explaining more carefully what I actually want. In fact, should we try it? So let's go back to a browser and write. So I'm going to just copy what I originally wrote and paste it in here. I take back everything bad that I said about Microsoft. This is really good. All right, write a Python program. Yeah, I don't know. Let's say in a pie chart, this should include data for the top 20 most populous countries, not regions. Can I say not in there? I don't know. Let's try that. All right. So yeah, I've got that stuff installed already. I'm just going to copy this, go back to that script. I'll delete that last attempt and we'll try this one. So if I paste that stuff in and then go to the console and try to run it, oh look at that, it displays stuff on the terminal actually that I didn't even notice. So if I run this, yeah, it's done the same again. Look, I've got regions. I have got some countries now like India, China, but most of it is weird like demographic brackets or regions, or I don't even know what IDA and IBRD is. Okay, but it's not exactly what I wanted, but fair play to it. It's not a bad attempt. And it does look like, if I were to dig into the code a bit, it doesn't look like it would, wow, it's quite small, isn't it? It doesn't look like it would take much effort to actually get this to do exactly what I want. I just have to figure out some way of getting actual countries out of this CSV file. All right, what about Java? What could I do with Java? Something that I have done a little bit, but not enough that I could really sit down and write a program using it, is JavaFX. I'm not going to try Android because then I'm going to have to fire up Android Studio and paste different files in different places. And on this machine that I'm using, Android Studio runs like treacle anyway, but we could go for JavaFX here. Let's say write a simple game, shall we say, in JavaFX. Wait, what about, let's be more precise, write a Minesweeper clone in JavaFX. Let's try that. See, I'm not even actually sure, come to think of it, how to even run this. So yeah, there's a bunch of different classes here, and I'd have to copy them all and put them into a JavaFX project. I mean, it looks like it's done it, right? It looks like it has. So let's see, what should I use for JavaFX? Maybe IntelliJ IDEA. I'm going to fire that up. So I've been using this to make a course on Kotlin. Thing I don't like about it is, my computers at the moment are really old. I really need to get a new machine, and it doesn't really work on my current laptop at all. But let's go to file when it's settled down a bit. File, new. Is anything going to happen? File, new, project. All right, and I want to create a JavaFX project. Can I do that? Yeah, I click JavaFX. Let's call it Minesweeper. So what language is this actually in? Let's take a look. I didn't actually specify the language. That looks like Java to me, right? I think that's Java. I don't see anything. Yeah, that's definitely Java, isn't it? So yeah, we've got, it actually says Java at the top there. Okay, so then I want to use Java. So I made sure that's selected. I need to put this in the right place. Let's click this folder here and browse to where I just started creating this code. So this is still Copilot. Let's create a new folder, Java, and in there I'm going to create a new folder, Minesweeper. Click create and click open. Okay, click next. Was everything okay on there? I think so. I've got JavaFX selected, so it should be all right. So I click next, and additional libraries, I don't know about any of, I don't think I want any of these. Let's click create. I'd like to create this in this window. All right, so what source files do I need? I've got a bunch of source files already. Is this a Java file? I don't even use IntelliJ IDEA for doing Java, gotta be honest. So that's a Java file, right? So's this. So I guess I've just got to put those files in the right place in this folder. If I look at what I've got here, there's not actually any package statement at the top. So this is the main application class. So let's copy that. What should that be called? That should be called minesweeper.java, right? Because that's the name of the class. So let's maybe right click this package. In fact, I could probably just delete this stuff. Do I want a module info? I don't know. Let's just right click and go to new Java class, Minesweeper. And I'm just going to select everything except for the package statement at the top. I'm just going to paste that code in. Yeah, so there's some red stuff going on here. Let's make it a bit smaller. But that's just because I haven't yet defined the other stuff that's in the other files. Okay, so that's what I've got. So I'll go back to the browser. That's dealt with that. Then we've got grid class. So this has got to be in a file called Minesweeper grid. Minesweeper grid with a lowercase s. Let's copy that. Go in here, right click, new Java class, Minesweeper grid, hit return. Then delete everything except the package statement, paste that in. What's missing from here? Yeah, it's missing this cell definition. So back again, and I've got this grid class here. How much of this stuff is there? Quite a lot. Okay, so this is, wait, I've just done that. Yeah, I've done this one, and I've done the grid class. Let's go down. Here's the cell class, so copy that. This should be in cell.java because the class is called cell. So if I right click and go to new Java class, cell, paste it in there. All right, I think that looks all right. And it looks like there are no errors now. Is that the last of the files? So if I scroll down here, yeah, it looks good. This is a basic implementation to get you started. You can add more features such as handling right clicks for flagging mines. Let me know if you need any further customization. All right. Can I actually run this? So where's the main program? That's in Minesweeper. Let's go to, I probably want to get rid of this hello application though, because that extends application and so does this. Can I have two that extend application? I don't know. How do I even run it? Let's maybe try clicking the run button with this Minesweeper file open. So I click run. Yeah, it's actually doing stuff. And wow. Okay, is this actually a Minesweeper game? What happens if I click it? All right, I've forgotten how Minesweeper even works. So that means there's two mines close to this one. And what am I supposed to do? I've forgotten. Am I supposed to avoid the mines or find the mines? I'm supposed to, yeah, that's a mine, right? And so does that mean there's one mine next to this square, which will be that one? So that's got to be free. And Trouble is, I really can't remember how to play this game. So it is, it's kind of missing some features. Like there's no score or anything, but I mean, credit where credit's due. This is clearly a basic Minesweeper game. I wonder what would happen if I asked it to do something really quite complicated. I mean, could it, for example, create a game that was actually animated? Let's try something. What about if I say, create an arcade game in Rust? Is it going to do anything? Can be a lot of fun and a great way to learn more about the language. To create a simple arcade game, such as a Pong clone. I was hoping for Space Invaders, but that's okay. First, you'll need to set up your Rust project and add ggez as a dependency. You can do, it actually tells me how to do it and everything. Okay, do I have to create any particular package? Because my Rust knowledge is extremely minimal. I've made about 20 videos on my progress with trying to learn Rust so far, but that hasn't got me all that far. I think I can manage this though. I just don't know if it has to be called anything in particular. I suppose it doesn't. So let's try this. I'm going to go to a console. Let's click clear. Where am I now? Let's do a couple of CDs. And yeah, so I want a Copilot directory here. So I've got Rust installed. It was a really easy install on my system. I really just had to run the installer. And once you've done that, you can do stuff like, well, let's create a subdirectory for it. Let's call it Rust and go into Rust. And I'm going to make a directory called Pong, if this is going to be Pong. Let's go into Pong. All right, so with Rust, we can do cargo new. Let's call this Pong, and that creates a new kind of package. It's basically a Hello World Rust program. So if I do that, and I can run it by doing cargo run, yeah, just cargo run, but I've got to go into the directory it's created first. So cd Pong and cargo run. All right, so that's a Hello World Rust program. Now, let's take a look at that. So if I open this Rust directory, let's minimize everything else. So I go into Rust. Here I've got a cargo.toml. That's automatically generated. So if I open that up, that looks like this. And if I go back to Microsoft Copilot, it says I've got to add this dependency into my toml file. I'm just going to copy this. I can just click the copy button, right? And go back to Visual Studio Code. Here's dependencies. Let's just replace that with this. And then if I go into the source directory, there's an automatically generated main.rs. That's there. And let's go back to the browser. So what files have I got? I've just got a main.rs by the looks of it. Doesn't seem like there's anything else there. Really, is this actually Pong? Gosh, this is so amazing. All right, let's copy that then. There's not even that much of it. Look at that. That's surprisingly little code, isn't it? Wow, okay. It's probably going to be a bit rubbish, like the other stuff that I've just generated. But, you know, I'm sure you could add further instructions and whatnot, and it would improve it, I suppose. So I've just copied that main.rs. I'm going to go and replace my existing main.rs that was automatically generated by cargo new with that stuff. Now let's go to a terminal and try cargo run. It says updating, so it's fetching some dependency here. Lots of them by the looks of it. I can't say I'm surprised. Oh no! Package cargo platform cannot be built because it requires Rust C. Oh wait, I can update though. Cargo, either upgrade to Rust C 1.78. How do I do that? So it looks like I can just do this. Where there is the latest version of cargo platform supporting, I don't know what the right version is. What if I just do cargo update? That's not going to help, is it? So I guess I can't just type this in, right? I've actually got to type some more information, have I? Yeah. It's the latest version of the cargo platform supporting... Can I just type 1.75.0? Whoa. No, I can't do that. Why not? Why didn't that work? I know there's an easy way to do this. Is it like Rust update or something? Rust update, I don't know. All right, let's go to a browser. I know there is a way to do this. How to update Rust. Rust up update. Okay, I can try that. Rust up update. All right, it says it's downloading the latest stuff. This looks pretty promising. I hope my Rust programs don't all stop working. I'm not sure how quickly Rust is actually changing. It used to change all the time, but I'm reading or seeing videos that say that's no longer the case. So, all right, so let's try cargo run again. Cargo run. What? It looks like it's running Rust 182, but this says I can't build this project because it... Hang on, is it just like this something... Is there a version number in this cargo.toml file or something like that? Nothing is ever simple. No, there's no Rust version there, right? Rust C hyphen version, what does that do? It's still 175. So what's it just done then? So I ran Rust up update. It says Rust 184 is installed, but I get Rust 175 when I try to actually use it. Ah, finally I think I've managed to actually run a right version of Rust. So it was just a question of following the installer's instructions to add the correct bin directory into my path, which I had to do by editing my, in my case, my .zshrc file so that loads when I create a new terminal. If I run PowerShell, will this still work? Rust C hyphen version. Yeah, it still works. So I'm going to try running that program again now. Let's go into the right directory. So I want Rust and Pong in there. All right, so this is something I should be able to run with cargo run. Okay, so it's updating some dependencies. All right, so the dependencies finished updating, and now it says, well, you can see what it says. There's a load of errors here. The trait, well, it's got a load of stuff here. I don't know if I can even get to the top of all these errors. Maybe let's try more or something. Okay, that didn't work. I have no idea what's wrong with it. Unfortunately, my knowledge of Rust is just not good enough to figure this out. Kind of a downer. But you know, I can believe that someone who knew Rust might be able to fix this really easily. Unfortunately, my knowledge of Rust is not good enough. And it's generated all this stuff that looks completely plausible. For some reason, it just doesn't work. It's probably not going to help to do like Rust up update or anything like that. Cargo run. I don't think this is going to work. All right, I don't know why not. I've no idea. But I don't want to end the video on problems. What about if I asked it to do the same thing in Python? Could it do that? So let's go back to the browser and get rid of this and this. And to be fair, it seems like my Rust installation might be a bit iffy. I don't know. All I did was install Rust and then try to update it in a normal way. I didn't do anything weird with it. Maybe it's because my Mac's a little bit old. I'm not sure. But let's try write a Space Invader game in Python. Can it do that? It can be fun and educational. It's going to use Pygame. Okay, so that's a sensible choice. And here's my complete code all in one file. Let's copy it. I'll be impressed if this works. How much code is there? Well, let's paste it into a file. I'm going to create a new folder here. Space Invaders. And let's call this main.py. And then if I just go to that, I'm going to paste that in. Let's have a look at it. Does it look reasonable? It looks reasonable. So yeah, I probably have to install Pygame. I don't think that's a big deal though. It's loading a background.png, but I haven't got, it's loading a UFO PNG. Did it supply me with any of these files? Let's take a look. Yeah, make sure you have the following image files in the same directory as your Python script. But it's not going to generate those files though, is it? So I'd have to actually create those files. What is all this stuff here? Is that like the stuff that it's actually used to try to do this? I don't know. Looks like it might be. This is written by someone called Daniel Hogan. Yeah, so, okay, I'd need those files and I haven't got them. What about trying something that doesn't require any files? Create an arcade game in Python that doesn't require any external images. Absolutely. it seems like it's understood me. How about a basic version of the classic Snake game? All right, so let's copy that. It's got instructions for installing Pygame. Let's overwrite. No, I'll keep this hanging around. I'm just going to create a new folder for it. So what's this supposed to be? Snake. And in there I'll create main.py, paste this stuff in. So I am running PowerShell. Where am I though? But I'm going to activate a virtual environment. So if I just do push D and go into my courses folder and then just run the activate script for the environment that I set up, and they are easy to set up. And I need to pip install Pygame. That seems like it succeeded. Let's do pop D to go back to where I was to start with. And now, did I paste that stuff in? Yeah, I did. So, I mean, again, it looks pretty plausible. That should now be installed. Well, let's try running it. I need to go to the right place though. So, Python and Snake. Okay, so Python main.py. So it's taking ages, but Python often does this, at least on my machine, when you install a new package and then use it for the first time. There we go. We've got something that looks like it might be a game. Wow. Yeah, if I hit the up and down arrows, I can move this around. How do you play Snake? I don't play any computer games. So I don't really know. Do I have to hit that thing there? I don't know. I can't hit it anyway. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I know how you play Snake now. I've got to eat these little squares. And it... Oh, God. I lost because I went off the edge. All right. Press... Wow, this is really a proper game. Or... Okay, you lost. Press Q to quit or C to play again. Let's give that another go. Wow, I've got to get that thing. I'm never going to get that without... Ah, no! Press C to go again. All right, this is fun if I got like nothing else to do. There we go. Look, I got one. Oh, gosh. All right, okay. I'm convinced that is an absolutely fully working, somewhat primitive arcade game in Python. So, what to say about all this? How do I quit it? Press Q. That works. All right. So yeah, I can see that this can write relatively simple programs. I haven't really tested it, that extensively, have I? Because, I mean, if I wanted a really complicated program, I suppose I'd have to get into a whole dialogue with it and explain exactly what I want, and maybe it will be able to do it, depending on what I actually wanted. I'm not really sure. I mean, if I had a really complicated specific program, and most programs are complicated and specific, would it be able to do that? I really don't know. It definitely is very good at generating sort of boilerplate code. So there is that. I mean, I suppose it's going to be a good starting point for simple programs at least. About more complicated programs, I don't know. Well, maybe I'll have to investigate this further another time. So far, I mean, I think it is fairly impressive, but I don't know at this stage how different it really is to if I just did a Google search or something and found a GitHub project that was similar to what I wanted. Like I could find a Pong GitHub project, I bet, that someone's put on GitHub that's publicly available, and I could copy that. And this is easier than doing this. I don't know how this works with copyright issues, but I assume there aren't any here. Seems like a bit of a fiddle. I suppose it must check licenses or something on code that it's using, probably. Anyway, that's it for this video. Let me know if you want me to make more videos about coding with AI, and if so, what kind of things should I do, because I'm pretty clueless with it. Alright, so until next time, happy coding.